and it looks as if there's been a problem. There has been a crash at the back here once again on the run in towards the finish. Riders are touching wheels and going down. This is all because of the fact that everybody's nervous. The panic there in the orange jerseys would indicate that the man who's had a problem there is Iban Mayo. He is the man who had a flat tire yesterday, and it looks as if it is Iban Mayo. There it is, 121. Teammate pushing him off there, making sure that he gets himself back into the main field. His teammate who pushed him off there was Inigo Landaluz.
That's amazing, Paul. Same point almost as on the course yesterday. Mayo in trouble again. Virtually all Spanish riders stopping there.
Well, a number of riders from Case d'Epargne, Lil Barreares going down, but Iban Mayo, Phil, is obviously not riding at the front end of the main field. Yesterday's problem was a flat tire. Today it was being in a mundane crash at the back end of the main field. Just as they were taking that right-hand corner a few moments to go, he was caught up in that little incident. You really do have to ride in the first 15 or 20 places, because what happens is riders tend to brake going into the corner, and when that happens, somebody touches a wheel.
Well, I think Mayo himself, you know, hit the barriers there. He's right on tight on the inside of that bend, and that wasn't a good place to be at the moment. But the team recognized it, and they were quickly on the scene.
Another popular rider here involved in that accident, Vicente Garcia Acosta. He went down quite hard. He's not too worried about losing time this afternoon. His major goal is not to finish high in the overall classification, but maybe try and get himself a stage victory. He won on the French national holiday a couple of years ago on Bastille Day on the road down into Draguignan. Got a teammate coming up alongside him. This man also had a problem. That's Isaac Galvez. He's the sprinter on the squad for Team Case d'Epargne, and he's trying to make sure that he gets back up. You can see he's ripped his shorts a fraction. He obviously went down quite hard, looking to see where Garcia Acosta is. But the problem is, when you have an accident at this point of the game, the pressure is on in the main field, and it's very difficult to catch back to the pack. There are the leading group of 5, and when you pull back like this, it's always an indication that there is the main field. The time gap they're giving us is 40 seconds, but I make that 30.
Well, this is the horrible part now. These straight roads, you can see 40 seconds, no problem. They can now see the quarry, probably the first time they've seen them for nearly 200 kilometers again today. Long breakaway by Wiggins as well. Tremendous riding by him. He'll be a different rider hopefully now for the next 3 weeks. He's got his confidence. Here comes a man who's found himself on the defensive at the wrong time of the day. Number 121, Iban Mayo, riding the bicycle now of Inigo Landaluz, the man who sacrificed it to get the leader back in the race.
Well, this man, I thought, was on the crest of his form this season. We've seen him riding so much better. Had the form that he had a couple of years ago when we expected him to challenge Lance Armstrong. And again, almost the whole of this Euskaltel-Euskadi team have dropped back to pace him back into the main field, because we are so close to the finish. You don't want an accident like this 10 or 15 kilometers to go, because in the main field, Phil, they are riding 60 kilometers an hour.
Well, at least they've got into the tail of the cars. This is good news now. And in fact, if you take a good look at Iban Mayo here, just to the right of our picture, he looks pretty comfortable on that bike of Landaluz's. So clearly Landaluz was the man who had to sacrifice. That's the rule, and there's been an attack in the breakaway anyway. This is now attempting here to split up the breakaway. It looks as though it's Coutui of the Agri-Turbal team who's trying to go. Wiggins a bit slow to react, I think, because I think he's behind. Yes, he is, so he's going to have to try and react to this. He's obviously very tired.
Well, I think he also looked over his shoulders there and saw the whole of the main field boring down upon these riders. There's Christophe Mongin, 11th Tour de France for him. He knows now that once the main field gets down to 30 seconds, it's pretty much all over, bar the shouting. These 3 riders have managed to escape a fraction from the guys who were with them. But if we can look back over their shoulders, we will see a black mass of riders all over the road boring down upon them.
Well, there's always those that never give up, of course. Here comes the army now as they're driving on from the helicopter. You can see the cars at the top of the picture. That is the breakaway, the lone figures in between now. The lone figure there of Bradley Wiggins. And in fact, he's now been joined by Mongin. I think they've surrendered, but the other 3 haven't. They're going to try and hang on here and go for it.
Well, they'll hold on for as long as they can, but that banner there now indicates 10 kilometers to go to the finish. The sign there indicating Saint-Quentin, so they're not far away from the outskirts of the finishing time. This is Coutui, the man who launched that first move. On the front there for Team Discovery, wearing number 4, is Egoy Martinez. 10 kilometers to go now for what is just 3 leaders, but they hold a 30-second advantage now over the front end of the main field. The main field spreading out over the road. Iban Mayo, just going down in a nasty crash, has regained the peloton. There he is. He was very quickly given a bicycle by his teammate Inigo Landaluz, but he has managed to make the juncture. And as yesterday, he was put under pressure because of a mechanical incident very close to the finish. The main field now are waiting to pause to try and launch the attack to pull back the rest of that group.
We are now 7.5 kilometres from the finish, and look at this now. Big Magnus Backstedt from Cardiff in South Wales. He's a Swede, of course. He's driving this race. He once won Paris-Roubaix. This year he's been injured, but now his job is to get the leaky gas boys up to those 3 riders and put Luca Paolini in with a chance of a win. And look at the speed, 65, 70 kilometres an hour.
We are looking at 45 miles an hour, and these riders all of a sudden, Phil, have thought we might have outfoxed the sprinters here this afternoon. And look at Martinez on the front. This little incline is going to give him an advantage. He's generating maximum power. Cedric Couturier, look at the face. He's saying, oh, this really hurts. I want to stay in contact because if I can maybe survive and get a 3rd place on the stage. Look at the face now of Lefebvre. These men are suffering out there. They have still managed to hold on to a 27-second advantage. The sprinters may well have made a mistake.
170 kilometres, about 110 miles. These riders have led the race today. Just a little bit more energy required before the finish and the run in here, but they're all after them now. Here comes Robbie Hunter of the Phonak team. He coming up alongside Magnus Backstedt. Oscar Frere's boys of Rabobank are moving in.
This now is going to be a real charge of the Light Brigade once we get into the outskirts of Saint-Quentin. 3 leaders, 5 kilometers to go, 25 seconds. Theoretically, it's not possible, but sometimes, you know, theory doesn't come into practice.
Well, they are in desperate motion at the back now, because you can see they are in panic mode because no one team is driving. They're all trying to get up there. They've suddenly realized that these boys, who are supposed to be tired by now, have suddenly found a second wind. There's Filippo Pozzato. He hasn't dropped off today. He stayed up near the front. Eric Zabel's Milram team are here in the light blue. They're all searching for help here, and you know they are not making an impression at the moment.
George Hincapie moving up on the left-hand side. Team Discovery, he's going to keep a close eye on how this race develops at the front. I also saw Nicolas Jalabert from the Team Phonak. He's looking after his man Floyd Landis. Landis won't get involved in the sprint this afternoon, but he doesn't want to get involved in a crash. The safest place to be, 15th to 20th. Try and stay out of trouble.
Well, now look at the riders fanning out. There is Bone, and he's just wondering just how he's going to get through here, because the rider in front of him in the green jersey is Daniele Bonatti. He's chosen a good wheel here, and also on his shoulder the other big sprinter, Thor Hushoff. So 3 of the big sprinters still in a bad position, but at least they're all together.
They are still very much all together, looking at each other. They're pulling out the red car now. That's always a bad sign, bit of a blow for the morale, but these guys have got to keep going. The clock is ticking against them. It's down to 17 seconds. There's Big Tom, 101 in the yellow jersey. There in front of him, Thor Hushoff is going through now. He's got his men to the front, wants to get them lined out, wants to get into that final corner. There's only one dangerous part of this last 3 kilometers as far as I can remember, and it is this large traffic circle. After that, there's a right-hand bend, and it's a 1 kilometer straight climb up the Boulevard La Gambetta.
But just around the corner at about 200 meters is where you actually see the line. I wonder if this man will ever remember anything about the passage of the Tour de France. There they go, lining up again, a chance to reposition the big names now. They are still not totally committed. They are a little bit confused. They're trying to reorganize themselves.
Team Discovery coming to the front, not to chase, but to slow down and maybe give the advantage for just another couple of seconds. Couturier suffering there, not able to take the acceleration of Laurent Lefebvre. Lefebvre, 30 years of age on Sunday last, has now been joined by Martinez. They are still holding on to just 7 seconds advantage. They're inside the outskirts now of Saint-Quentin, but you know the main field are all behind them. Martinez at the moment, Phil, is developing an incredible 800 watts. That is power.
That is power, Paul. He's running at 93 of his stress out of 100, and his heart suddenly shot up. He's tickling 200. He's in the red zone, but he is giving maximum effort now because these two are trying to steal the show from the sprinters. But it is a very difficult hill to the finish, and that itself could destroy the hopes of the these two.
It could destroy the hopes of these two. Look at that. It's only about 75 metres advantage. The men at the front of the main field now are digging deep, trying to pull it all back together. Still 8 seconds advantage. They'll be looking up the road now to see, can I see the Flamme Rouge? Can I see the red kite? Is it there? Indicating just 1,000 metres to go to the finish. The main field now are starting to get very much under control. Moving up there, 107 Bram Tanking is trying to make sure that the field is stretched out for his man, and his man is Tom Boonen. This is what it's like at the back. It's very dangerous. You are on the edge of your saddle now, trying to stay in contact with the riders in front, while at the front the teams of the sprinters are sacrificing themselves to try and make sure they can pull it all back together.
And there we can see too that the heartbeat of Vyacheslav Yekimov is also up a little bit now to an amazing 157. But these two are racing towards the finish now, and they are heading. It looks as though there might be a flat tyre here for number 181. That'll be Eric Zabel. Is there a flat tyre for Zabel? I think it might be. It looked at 2 kilometres to go. And the two leaders have hit a flat tyre for Zabel. What a time to get that. They are caught, and they are caught at 2 kilometres from the finish now. Now the team of Daniela Bonatti have got to the front. Now we are into the domain of the sprinters. The men with no fear. They'll search for the leaders. These are the tricky moments now. Thank heavens on that bend the roads are dry.
Everybody's round the corner now trying to get them lined up. Poor old Eric Zabel, 181 at the back with a back wheel flat tyre. He won't be going for the sprint here this afternoon. Tom Boonen will be, though. He'll be looking to try and position himself. David Miller is right up there. This is the back of the pack. This is Eric Zabel. No chance for him this afternoon, but the action is really basically all at the front end of the field.
Well, that is a tragedy for Eric Zabel. There's no way now. He's out of the hunt, back to the front of the race. Boonen in that yellow jersey, beginning to move ever nearer the front now. Watch out for the Pimpernel, Robbie McEwen, who won't be far away. Neither will Thor Hushoff here. 1 kilometre to go. The sprinters have got to the sharp end now.
It's a very long 1 kilometre, this one, because it drags up and up until the riders get into the finishing straight. The final bend is around about 150 metres to go, and that's when you have to wait. Tom Boonen is a long way back there, but it might be an advantage here this afternoon. You can see the sprint is starting. It's Crédit Agricole at the front, and they will be trying to look after their man, Thor Hushoff. Bonatti is in well placed, but so too is Tom Boonen, making his way up through the pack.
Well, Boonen knows this finish. He's going to wait until he has to go. Bonatti is the one in the green points jersey in the centre of our picture at the moment. They're allowing the riders of Crédit Agricole make a move at the moment. Remember, this is a long run up the hill, and they have a left flick down to the finish. Boonen and Bonatti look to be going for this one together. Jimmy Casper is still there in the white, and there's a fall in the middle. I don't know what happened there, but everybody got round the situation. And to Crédit Agricole rider who went down, it might have been Hushoff. I think it could have been, or it could have been Robbie McEwen, who's coming up on the outside. And now we've got McEwen has got it again. McEwen has got it again as he hits the line. Robbie scores the points today, and I think the return of the green jersey is destined tonight for the shoulders of Robbie McEwen. And who was the crash at the bottom of the road? And
Julian Dean went down.
It was poor Julian Dean, the sprinter. I thought for a moment it was Thor Hushoff, but it was the big sprinter Julian Dean from New Zealand who went down, and Gerard Porte here is rushing up now to check on him. He was lucky nobody else fell.
Well, you've got to hand it to Robbie McEwen. You don't know where he is, but he's there, first place across the finish line once again, with number 2 for Robbie McEwen here at the Tour de France this afternoon. And just look at the power this man generates coming up to the line there. Boonen was caught out in the middle. He was battling to try and get the wheel of McEwen. Didn't have the power, in the wrong place once again here this afternoon. I don't even think Tom Boonen made a top 5 at the end of the day, but McEwen came through the chaos. All of it was behind him and got the win.
What a great win for McEwen.
It was, but another dramatic episode in the daily soap opera of Thor Hushoff's race to date. While the rest of us were watching either McEwen or the crash involving Julian Dean, the finish line judges were looking here, where Française des Jeux Bernhard Eisel in white is trying to squeeze through on the barrier. And Hushoff, in the opinion of the commissaires, is illegally impeding him. So instead of 4th on the stage, he was relegated to 148th. That left the result looking like this. McEwen first, Isaac Galvez, who was involved in that crash with about 15 kilometres to go, recovering well to take second. And even with Hushoff relegated, Tom Boonen able to manage no better than 4th behind Oscar Freire.